slowly falling down cooler闇へ but never going back touch 向かえどうして高く上げてなお大ボーナなんてもうグッバイ証拠にもなくファイナルカマと Need another day I will run away from nothing no more どこまでも笑がってこう今超えてく Also ready to break it up I'm not afraid yeah break it Keep it point in the dark 自分の力に変え wipe out 今ねじ曲げる視線 I never fall in I never ever care for them 今立ち向かう and I defeat myself I gotta go, skin myself, save for back foot I gotta go, skin myself, see a suspect Time away from me, stop my shadow Smoke, let us set my tongue on this fix I could Nobody knows, cause I can't flow Live fast for the
Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video. Finally my throat has gotten better and I could be able to do like a legit rant. And this is going to be a more generic one because I feel like this is something I need to be able to be open about. And to make things clear with you guys, I want to talk about why people shouldn't always show remorse. And I'm not saying you should always make excuses for yourself. That's not what I'm implying. But I believe that the reason why I say some people shouldn't always show remorse, if it's something that isn't too serious, just like your own personal life, you got into some beef with someone, a lousy argument, that should be kept between you and that person. And it's not for the other person to decide whether you should apologize on. And it depends it really depends on the type of follow you have this person as to why you react to that a certain way. Because being angry at someone isn't always it doesn't mean you're always wrong. And I noticed that because especially in the past, I mentioned how people will get very salty or they get very sensitive over my videos because I express a certain way, or we don't have anything in common, or we don't have the same motive, the same ambitions or whatever. And for all the past videos I made about people, I'm not going to show remorse for that. I'm not going to show remorse for the criticism and the negative things I said about people, because again, these are directed towards the people who are out there causing problems, who are there showing off on the internet. They want to be ignorant and stuff and be a nuisance to the public. And the thing is, they learn, and their actions say otherwise. It's like my opinions 333. So sorry. It's like what my opinions 333 said. Actions speak louder than words. People going out of their way, starting beef because they have an issue with what you said in your videos, or you're not listening to their demands. And that's the thing I find very irritating. What is it people truly think that if you make threats towards somebody online, the more you harass them, the more you intimidate them, provoke their person, what are you going to gain from that situation? That's what I'm wondering. And on top of that, I mentioned how in the past that people would basically feel comfortable when they're behind the screen, behind the computer, and they would gang up on you, especially in group chats. And you should never apologize to someone who has a vendetta against you, who does not like you. For the people who don't like me, that's up to them. I'm not going to try to convince them otherwise. But if you know there's someone who has some sort of vendetta against you, and it's for the wrong reasons, and they don't like you, do not feel sympathy for that type of person. Do not show them any kindness, and just ignore them personally. But if they decide whatever their ego gets in the way and they want to put hands on you, whatever, that's the time you defend yourself. And it's one thing being nice, but you also can't be too nice. You gotta be able to show that you have some sort of spine, backbone, because just because somebody's upset with you doesn't mean you did something wrong at the end of the day. It's just too many sensitive, very, very petty people out there who get riled up for the smallest things. Now again, this does not excuse people who actually go up and do who go out and do bad behavior, harass people, who actually commit like very serious heinous crimes. That I'm not condoning. Um, and this is the thing though. If you know you're being accused of something and someone's trying to get you in trouble, and I said this before, I do not like snitches. If you're someone who likes to get people in trouble for whatever you have against that person, like how much regarding how much you hate that person, you better move on with your life. That's what I'm gonna tell you guys. And clearly, people who hate on other people, it seems very people waste their time on their net bothering people who try to like pursue that person, have nothing better to do in life. Like again, not showing remorse does not mean that person is a terrible person. And I'm gonna have to bring this up, you guys, because nowadays people feel like you have to apologize every time you get into argument with someone, or especially if you're trying to defend yourself, a person out of nowhere just being completely disrespectful, cursing you out, insulting you, that's where at that point, you know what, my kindness for you you're never gonna see it ever again. And you better walk the other way. If not, things are about to get serious. And like just people with like barely with no real goals in life, who basically have nothing better to do, is just absolutely pathetic. And of course, people need to be condemned when they go out and do crimes, when they go out of their way, doing like serious acts towards people, especially misdeeds, putting people's life at risk, being a disturbance to the public. And then especially if it's all caught on camera, and again, you have to make sure that it's proven, make sure that it's seen, there's factual evidence. Again, it could be like DNA, it could be like clues that people have noticed when they examine the area or whatever. If all of that is proven and given and it's all revealed, then there's no reason to be in denial about it. That's when you have to show remorse. But and I'm not only just being like generic about this video, I'm also talking about like from what I had to deal with. I hate how nowadays people think you always have to show remorse or that you're apologetic. There's always a time and place, but there's also a time where you don't have. There's always a time where you don't have to apologize. If you know what you did isn't a big deal, if it isn't that serious. If anything, if you are to show remorse for someone, especially if it's a fight or argument, let that person. I feel like both people should show remorse for each other at the same time, because it's crazy nowadays. Like no matter how much you apologize, no matter how much you say you're sorry, no matter how you let people know that you're trying to do better, you're trying to get your mind on right, or you're trying to work with your work with your personality, try to work with people, adapt better in conversations, people still wouldn't be satisfied. So why even bother trying so hard to satisfy someone who you know does not like you at all? If you know, and I've had this. If I know someone who doesn't like me, who hates me or whatever, I'm not gonna do whatever I can to impress them. I'm not gonna try to accommodate with that person. I'm not trying to get that person's approval. Never. If I know that I can't like convince that person otherwise, then you're just wasting your time, honestly. And the only time you ever show remorse, unless you know you've been exposed. And that's the point with my videos. Maybe if people actually were more apologetic, they were able to see the wrong in their actions, then maybe I will go a bit easier on these people, and not have to say the things that people don't want to hear, because sometimes you have to hear it, especially if you want to avoid being criticized. I want to see how much you improved, how much you were able to redeem yourself, in order for me to see some positive quality, in order to gain compliments from me, and trust and believe I say that I am not remorseful. I'm not remorseful to the people I've criticized. I'm not remorseful to the people that I retaliated against. I'm not remorseful, or I never forgive the people who went in on me and where I defend myself, and don't expect any apology from me whatsoever, because because they're trying very hard to make me look like I'm the punk here, make me look like I'm the sucker, and this isn't about me either. But hopefully nobody has to be labeled that way, or be put in that situation where they feel like a complete where someone's just making a complete mockery out of you, and no matter how hard you try to get along with that person, they're just gonna keep shoving you off and just be in disapproval, never impressed, never proud, and never satisfied. So what's the point? Might as well never. Now you just it's better not to ever deal with that person. Now again, this is online too, but had it been in person and that person decides to escalate it, that's where things get serious. And it's not gonna be that internet persona that I'm gonna share. This is where you guys really need to think about it. Like the more you apologize to someone, don't you get irritated when they try to guilt trip you into thinking that it's not enough. And then they'll decide to keep insulting you. But now again, it depends if you are actually not guilty. But if you know someone will just keep guilt tripping you, they try to make themselves feel good and make you constantly look bad, there's a time, I'm not gonna put up with this bullshit, and I'm just gonna have to outright ignore you, because the more I try to reason with you, the more I try to cooperate, this just keeps escalating to the point that it's gonna lead to nowhere in this situation. And that's where you cut off with the person, not ever even want to interact with them, because that person is basically putting you under the rug, putting a lot of peer pressure, and giving you a lot of low self-esteem, and that you need to avoid that person at all cost. And it's not good for your mental health. There's really nothing you can do to try and say otherwise, because it's like talking to literally a brick wall, or talking to a shield that just keeps reflecting back at you and making you look bad every single time, and you're never gonna make progress at this point. I'm not gonna bring my online persona in real life. That's where things get serious, and I'm gonna let people know how I handle it in real life. And it should apply to everyone. For those that feel the need, they have to defend themselves, because there's always a time for remorse, but there's a time where it's not necessary. But again, you guys, I feel like I said enough. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.